And we are recording. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm very excited to be doing this tonight. I am Timothy Tarkelly. I run Roaring Junior Press, which is a chapbook press that has published a lot of really good poets lately, but specifically Samuel Strathman, happy birthday, and Kristin Garth. And I'm very excited that we're going to have a chance to listen to both of these poets. This will be up on YouTube as well. And we have a couple other people that'll be coming in. All I ask right now is that you kind of keep yourself muted to just stop any background noises and people screaming and dogs barking and those kinds of things. But, you know, whatever happens, happens. So I do want to say a few things. Like I said, I run Roaring Junior Press, and I want to specifically thank these poets because these poets I've been able to publish during a pandemic. And they have had to deal with a lot of hardships, like all of the difficulties that the Postal Service is going through. I know some of the packages I sent to Kristin took forever. I don't know, Samuel, I don't know if you've gotten yours yet. I shipped them, but they're up Canada way somewhere. So I'm sure you'll get them soon. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce our first poet. Kristin Garth, the famous sonneteer. She is a pushcart, best of the net, and Riesling nominated sonnet stalker. Her sonnets have stalked journals like Glass, Yes, 5 to 1, Luna Luna, and more. She is the author of 17 books of poetry, including Pink Plastic House by Maverick Duck Press, Crow Carriage from the Hedgehog Poetry Press, Flutter, Southern Gothic Fever Dream by Twisted Press, The Meadow, APEP Publications, and Golden Ticket, which came out from Roaring Junior Press. She is the founder of Pink Plastic House, a tiny journal, and co-founder of Performance Anxiety, a great, great opportunity for all you poets out there, an online poetry reading series. You can follow her on Twitter at LOLAANDJOLIE, and her website is KristinGarth.com. Thank you, Kristin. If you want to go ahead and take it away.
All right. I'm going to be reading from Golden Ticket, which you can see right here. And I got this idea to do this book during the pandemic because I was reading it to end the pandemic. And it's such a comforting, you know, I'm like an eternal teenager, so I like to read, you know, things that I read when I was a kid for comfort, and I was doing that. And so this book, I started out to do like more innocent poems, and then it kind of evolved because I am a complex person and it got dirtier as it went on. But I'm going to read a couple of poems first from the sweeter section, which are the first one's called Luminous Lollies. The button 10 rows up, third from the right, is labeled Luminous Lollies for eating in bed at night. You ask if you might finger to knob, impel the slick plastic sheath, illuminate, throb. Elevator drops, stomach to floor, collapse a gasp as you exit two sliding glass doors where lollipops luminescent like low-hung stars imbue your view a Brobdingnagian boudoir. Obscured in darkness, an oval of beds, cumulonimbus mattresses, noir night overhead, open-mouth minuscule heads, grimoire constellation of sugar and sticks awaits your enchantment, one magic lick. And the next poem I'm going to read is called Golden Ticket, and then it's obviously the title poem. Some have a daddy who finds it for them. Some swallow defeat, then win on a whim. Some crave competition more than some gum. Some hack computers with algorithms. Some are just lucky on one special day. Decade of dates you thought luck turned away, abandoning you to hunger, decay. Where debts recorded repaid you today, moment in time they could do you most good. Luck is an oracle misunderstood, omnipresent in a famished childhood, with favors she is unable to spare. She knew the sum required to get you there. And one thing, the reason I wrote that poem is I'm not a religious person in any way. I was abused by religious people, so it's, I have a lot of issues with that, but I'm pretty spiritual, and I definitely believe in luck. And I think that's what keeps you humble, like in a world where like there's like writing, where there's so many talented people, and some of the most talented people, don't get any attention, and it's like, why, it's random, and I think if you believe in, that's one thing I liked about that story so much, is the love, that Charlie does have in the right moment, his luck, but how much, there's nothing you can control about that. And I think you should always remind yourself and be humble. And before I start the hot chocolate section, which is like the a little more erotic section, I had to tell you, because I was reading tonight an article tonight, because I love licorice almost probably more than I love chocolate. And I just read about a man who died, a construction worker, because he ate so much licorice, which contains a poison, and you can actually die if you eat too much licorice. This is now in the New England Medical Journal. So it was kind of funny to me because my character, Annis, she loves licorice, and she wears a licorice G-string at her work. But and she's got a lot of issues with men, so she's doing, and she ends up being a spy against Wonka, but I had no idea she could kill someone with licorice. But so that was just something I learned tonight that I thought was funny. But here's Annis, in which we meet a licorice-loving stripper who names herself Annis, with the skill set of a spy. Devious, the demoiselle, her tragic tale, burnished fingernails, sharpened dagger points, double-jointed, lissom limbs, sambuca cocktails she sips with businessmen, in topless joints, inspires her latest alias, Annis and her G-strings of black licorice. Each takes a couple hours to knit. Shoelace licorice is delicate. Vigorous movements, coy cut of teeth, reveal a cookie underneath. Sugar and spice, some men will pay twice. Once to see you peel, then to erase the recording device. Confession collection, her specialty. Counts hundreds, home over licorice tea. And the next one I'm going to read is where this character meets Arthur Slugworth, who was in the book, Willy Wonka's competitor. And I expand on this. We know that he spies on Willy Wonka, but we don't know how. But in my book, it's through, he uses this woman that he met in the strip club who blackmailed him. Sugar daddies. Arthur Slugworth meets his future secretary, industrial spy, at a strip club. American Candy Expo meets in Chicago each year. Arthur Slugworth's jet consistently appears. Before show begins, day early to play. Bittersweet secrets over his butterscotch schnapps confess to the ponytailed stripper. Her peach ring, pop, bubblegum thong, sweet visage suggest she is a shell, you could tell anything. But cotton candy brains can cling. Also, the voice recorder and bow in her hair. It isn't nice. It isn't fair. She knows your preferred sweet competitors prepare. The sugar daddy, like name of this place. Give her a job, or she shares your disgrace. And the next poem is actually the first poem I wrote for the hot chocolate section when I really figured out, oh, there's going to be an erotic part, and it's called The Sweet Seduction of Willy Wonka. 3 confectioners would introduce spies into his factory. Slugworth tries one with chocolate brown eyes. Taffy tongue slides down stripes of suckers, supersized. Young nun by the visage that is but disguise. Sweet, a candy man should recognize. Slugworth at first himself was victimized. Repeated times, safe, compromised twice before he first realized emphasizes his power to put her in cuffs? Or would wise, sticky fingers acquire him stuff from disenfranchised, shut-in chocolatiers? Weak she appears in sugar balloons, inviting his bites. An indecent show for Slugworth, taste of sweets, two experts know. And this is my final poem I'm going to read, and it was really fun to write, but this is when she actually seduces Willy Wonka. Love in a great glass elevator. When glass doors close, I am no longer spy. Dance nude, translucent box, candy men between taut thighs. Full force of rocket propellants, amplifying thrust of him, prim petite chocolatier with an everlasting lust. Pixie dust from fingertips brush. A button showers us, his stick swirling deeper within. Until a scrumptious rush. Endorphins splay sticky limbs. We care not where we do descend. Paroxysms push buttons, neither comprehends, and we are there, and the gravitational bounce summons moans, now echoed doubts 10,000 feet deep. In rock candy mines, I visit asleep. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kristin. That was fantastic. We're clapping ever so silently. That's fantastic. And I was so excited when you reached out to me about this book. I just thought it was so, I mean, honestly, the amount of just absolutely mind-blowingly creative submissions we get, it's just like, oh, okay, yes, of course I'll publish that. That's a great idea. And it did not disappoint. I absolutely loved it. I have a high school student right now who's like constantly drawing Willy Wonka characters. She's obsessed with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I want, like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, maybe you'd find this interesting, but I want to keep my job, so I didn't say anything about it. So thank you once again, Kristin. You're so great. All right, our next poet is Samuel Strathman. He is a poet, author, educator, and the founder/editor-in-chief of Floodlight Poetry. Some of his poems have appeared or are forthcoming in the Remnant Archive, Words and Whispers, Whitehall Review, and elsewhere. He is the author of 2 chapbooks. In Flocks of 3 to 5 was published by Anstruther Press in 2020. The Incubus, published by Roaring Junior Press, is his second, and it just came out today. We're very excited about it on his birthday. Happy birthday, take it away, Sam Strathman.
Thank you so much, Tim, and of course to Kristin as well too. I'm sorry that Victor could not join us tonight as well too, but of course he is thought of, and of course we're wishing him well in whatever he's going through as well too. I of course need to thank my father for being here, Anton Pools, Crystal, as well as Robert Fred Kenter, who has published some of the work in here, and the editors that have published the various poems that are in this chapbook as well too. Yes, so I'm going to start off with one that was inspired by Kristin Garth and her dollhouses. It's a little wild, but in a bit of a different way. And it's called Danny's First Dollhouse as an Adult. Satellite around the front yard of the dollhouse and discover the cutest doilies and fringes from Mother's old sweater. The turquoise one we love to hate. On the inside, I throw hair curlers and everything else from the secret bathroom vault. Gears from the blow dryer, cocaine mirror, extra fanny pack, champagne cooler, insulin toolkit. There's enough snorting glue on this baby to get a whale ripped for the slang and flang. Mom comes in for a peek, ends up spitting her wine. She leaves the room, comes back with a lighter, opens the closet, and sets the clothes on fire. This spectacle is dumb. I think Mama forgets that the wardrobe was bought with Daddy's homewrecker money. Joke's on her now, because before long, I'll be living on my own, hanging up pictures in my pajamas. There will be no lighters in the new house, just the smolder of catharsis. And I think I should remind people that this is not like an autobiographical poem as well, too, in any way, shape, or form. I had a very beautiful upbringing, and I've been very well blessed my entire life, including today as well, too. I've had nothing but just an outpouring of support and love. Everybody has difficulty in school, but whatever. So the next one I'm going to read is also from the chapbook. I'm going to start off with all chapbook ones, and it's called Prisoner's Camelot, and it's sort of about someone that would be better off in a bit of a psych ward as opposed to being in a actual jail. So it's called Prisoner's Camelot. Body is irrelevant when you have the influence to tap into shadowlit tunnels of human psyche. Rainbow pastels of bedlam I used to draw in the oubliette. Onslaught of possessed samurai drives the masses from their homes. Tiny Tinas and Troys are splatterbrained like watermelons catapulted from one backyard to the next. I shout at the walls and they answer back with a dead ringer, noose of predestiny. In the cell block, I trip and split my head open in the cenote of Gitmo, but am resurrected by a proclamation. Let the Dybbuk's choir in. And the last one that, actually no, I've got two more that I'm gonna read from the actual chapbook itself. And this one is a first person one, but it has to do with an alien that has come to observe, which is why it's called Here to Observe. My body is humanoid. My quest to collect data on animals. The objective is far from the straight and narrow. Hypnotism lets me stay in hotels for free. Room service does the shopping, provides specimens. Transportation occurs in broad daylight, the modus operandi of my species. Black mamba on a tray, pigs wearing bonnets. Drop a live snake in a swine's belly, see what happens. Bloody internection. Tonight, I go on a walk, mimic the mating routines of rats as they copulate. Joggers stare as they go by, but don't put the pieces together. Perhaps I'm inexperienced. I learned to speak coyote, share a caribou pizza with them at their AA meeting. We talk hunting regimens that keep their heads straight, curse the stringiness of the meat. When the witching hour strikes, I lop off a cat's tail, take it home, pet it in the dark, sing incantations to keep the furry bugger erect, dip the tail in ink, and write this confession for you. By the time you get this, I'll be on Neptune massaging my feet with baboon's teeth. Mission accomplished. Now, it wouldn't be any reading without reading the title poem called The Incubus. So here it goes. The Incubus sandwiches himself into other people's fantasies with a cautionary tale. Diary of a necrophiliac. He sees his prey through to the end, a prolonged tuck-in during paralysis. The next day, guilt strikes, revelation, time to make amends, selling his sports cars and chains, renting his penthouses out under market value for a low profile in the slums. He invites the hoi polloi to his televised roast featuring Vampira and Satan's talking sweater as speakers. During the festivities, shrunken heads toss around stories of how the star of the show has a penchant for bedwetting. The Incubus takes deep breaths, eviscerating Paddington Bear in front of his audience. Button-eye pop. Weeks later, the sheriff lays him out, leaves him bedridden, delirious. A succubus enters the night, turning the lights out on the tormented creatures for good. I think I'm going to lighten things up a little bit now and read some stuff that's not in the Incubus, as much as I absolutely love the Incubus. And I must give another shout out to Anton Pools, who was a huge influence. His Anne Struther chapbook, gosh, I'm forgetting the title now. Monster 37 is a really, really good book. No, it's Monster 36. Okay, I think I got that one. Anyway, Anton, pipe in. Yes, Monster 36. I did get it right. Okay, I saw it on the chat there. Okay, gosh, I'm getting in my old age. Anyway, so I'm gonna read another one called Worm and Pebble, which is definitely going to lighten things up. And it's about a toad that has a thing for a worm. Or is it a pebble? Toad meets a worm, meets a pebble, meets a worm, meets a pebble, takes a liking to said worm pebble. Imagine Toad, who is not a bat, fancying a pebble that's not a worm. That's a worm instead of a pebble. Picture Toad in front of the mirror with said worm. In that mirror, however, the worm is a pebble. Toad's head is full of pellets now. So the good things just keep piling on for the birthday. I actually had a printed version, and it's on my shelf now. Or it's not on my bed. It's on my bed that I got all the way from Scotland. They published a poem that I dedicated to Kirby, who was born in America, but he started Knife Fork Book here in Canada. And it was a poem that I dedicated to him because I found that he's very much, just in the way that he is, he's everything that you don't see from a lot of mainstream businesses. Kirby's just very much so himself. So this is sort of a knock at industry without being, of course, directly dealing with Kirby himself. So it's called Meltwater Blue. Bella tells me that my face is damp. I explain to her that the night is slowly sinking. The majority stuck under a burrow that doesn't know how to repent, dwindling under its weight while we hit ourselves over the head with a tire iron. Genuflect to the industrial visage in boardrooms, as well as the top 40 billboards. It will make your list every time, even when it's unwelcome. Rules are always changing so that the newest ones can throw us for a loop when it's least expected, enhancing the working capital. Forget the hype. A hashtag doesn't equate to an office with a view of an ice cream parlor. What's the flavor of your discontent? Meltwater blue, fragments shrink wrapped under the weight of the moon. I realize that I have like tons of material tonight, so I'm gonna speed it up maybe just a little bit because I think some people want to go to bed. So this one was a poem that I wrote and was in my first chapbook in Flocks of 3 to 5 with Anne Struther. And it's after a performance by Bill Bazette, who's pretty amazing, both visual and also written poet. And it was, in fact, right after one of his performances that I got to see where I actually wrote this poem. And it has to do with sort of some light that I got from a streetcar on the way home. High beams illuminate the pages of a library book. Refract streetcar shelter graffiti. Firework yellow coruscation. Coming soon, requiem for city parades. I'm going to read this shorter one that I have, and it's going to sort of tie everything a little bit together. And it's a poem that I wrote for Crystal, who I believe is here watching. And it's called High Park Poem. And this will be my last one for the night. And it's based on a time that we spent there on the her blanket, and it's Saturday, September 5th, 2020. I knock over the sparkling water and watch as it cultivates a river on the grass before settling, reveling in the wind's gentle interludes and underwhelming gusts. The ant trawling my arm stops cleaning its antenna. The ant trawling my arm stops cleaning its antenna like a cat lapping at its paws. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Yes, it was great.
Fantastic. So I did want to point out before we depart that Victor Clevenger was supposed to join us this evening, and due to some personal circumstances, he was not able to come. He sends his regrets. And so I wasn't going to do this originally because I don't want to butcher it, but I'm going to read one of his poems that he actually published in A Wildflower in Blood on Roaring Junior Press. And I also love the cover art. My friend Jose did. I think it's fantastic. I didn't want to do this just because Victor has such like an awesome style to the way he reads his poems that I'm not able to really recreate, nor should anyone try to recreate. But I'm going to read this poem anyway. It's my favorite in the collection, and it's called The Last Supper. The sun turns its back on us daily, turns a blind eye to it all. Vultures fall to the ground to feast without remorse, knowing that while resting against filthy rib bones, a heart does not grow like a wild flower in blood. I love it. We miss you, Victor. Really wish that you were here, but we all understand. Fun fact, Victor Clevenger and John Dorsey are the only poets that I've published that I've ever actually got to meet in person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I hope I get to meet more of you soon. Thank you for everyone that came tonight. Thank you, Kristin. Thank you, Sam, for reading. Happy birthday once again.
Yes, happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
I will get this posted on YouTube first thing tomorrow morning. God bless, and I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now. So everyone have a good
Okay.
night.